Before I start this video, a quick spoiler warning from the Shibuya incident arc regarding Nanami. You have been warned. The life of an adult can be a mundane routine, especially just after you finish your studies and find your first 9-to-5 job. Gone are the days of watching Dragon Ball Z, Shaman King, Pokemon, Digimon, and several other shows growing up. But now when adult life hits, it hits hard. And this is exemplified by the character of Nanami Kento, who gave up becoming a sorcerer and just wanted to make more money and become a salaryman. Now, when doing my character videos for Demon Slayer, I always ask myself, why did the author introduce this character, such as Rengoku in the Mugen Train arc, or Tengen in the Entertainment District arc? Or even if you want to go back to my earlier Shaman King character videos, I like to ask the question, what hidden message the author is trying to show by introducing new characters, or even through the main characters themselves? And with Nanami, it's the obvious lesson of the reality of life when you stop being a kid or a teenager and then have the responsibility of an adult. As Nanami himself says, being a Jujutsu sorcerer is shit, and being a salaryman is also shit. This scene was done for comedic relief, but you can see the inner meaning behind it, and in all honesty, it paints a very bleak picture for the teenagers watching this series. If you're in high school and watching Jujutsu Kaisen but seeing a character like Nanami presented to you explaining how the working life is not all that is cracked up to be, you will be thinking, shit, is that how adult life really is? Is that how my life is going to be? Am I going to hate my job and have a boring, mundane life as an adult? That's how on the surface Akutami introduced Nanami as a warning to the younger viewers of the harsh reality of the mundane adult life, where you're a zombie with the same old routine. Even in the flashback in episode 13, you see Nanami in the bakery looking like a dead man walking, because that's his morning routine. He's a zombie throughout his breakfast, commute, and during his work hours. A nice little subtle touch Akutami did was introduce his binding vow over time, where his cursed energy increases and basically gives him a power boost. This is definitely reflective in our work patterns. More often than not, you will be doing your usual work, but then when deadlines hit and you're working past 5 o'clock, that's when the urgency comes, because you're no longer doing work in work hours, you're doing work in your own time now, which is why naturally you're more in a hurry to finish your work so you can go home. You can even compare this to studying. When you have coursework or any type of paper or dissertation you have to hand in for a deadline. For majority of the students, it's usually in the last few days leading up to the deadline where there is an urgency to get it complete. You're basically spending extra hours to finish your paper just before the deadline, which is basically overtime for students. So this binding vow that Nanami has, we can all relate to, but as grim and pessimistic Nanami was shown to us as the relatable adult character, I don't think that's what Akutami's intention was. Look at Nanami's life. He was a student, then became an office worker, progressing in his career to make more money. That's a very normal life. It's so normal, in fact, you can probably end up doing a slice of life anime spin-off with Nanami as your lead. This is a life that majority of the adults watching Jujutsu Kaisen have lived and are living. We all studied when we were young, and we finished our studies and gotten a job working 9 to 5, progressing our career and earning more money. But then Nanami does something which takes a lot of courage to do, and that is quitting his well-paid job and going back into becoming a Jujutsu sorcerer and mentor for the Tokyo Jujutsu students. He realized that his office job was not worth it, and protecting and helping people is something much more worthwhile and is something he actually likes doing. Such as when he exorcised the cursed spirit inside the bakery. And you can tell he has a kind heart when he questions how can the girl in the bakery shop get paid so less, whilst him in his corporate role gets paid so much more, when the girl in the bakery is actually helping people by feeding them. So the acknowledgement of that just shows how sincere he is as a person, but the 9 to 5 routine just weighed him down and made him a pessimist, or how Gojo and Yuji describe him as completely gloomy. But it's not all gloom and doom. deaths mean a lot in Jujutsu Kaisen, which is why the series made such a big deal about Yuji's granddad's death. So when we see Nanami actually smile before his death, which means that he's finally at peace with himself, he became the mentor for Yuji. Whenever Gojo wasn't around, and let's be honest, Nanami is a more serious mentor than Gojo, and his final words were to Yuji in chapter 120, when he says to him, "You've got it from here," handing over the torch to Yuji, as Yuji also equaled Nanami's record of continuous Black Flash attacks. So they both become really close throughout the series, and it wouldn't have happened if Nanami never quit his job. Nanami wants to help people, but being a mentor figure for Yuji clearly meant a lot to him. That's why he was smiling when he saw Yuji even at his death. Now, even though Nanami did end up dying, Akutami used his death to show us that we can all have a fulfilled life if we want to. Nanami chose to leave his well-paid corporate job, which was killing him inside. He could have gone to another job, a job where he may have actually enjoyed his role, but he chose to leave the workforce completely and go back to helping people in the world by becoming a grade 1 sorcerer, which, as you can imagine, doesn't pay that much. But he ended up dying with a smile on his face, so even though he wasn't making as much money as he did before, or any money at all, he still found peace in his death. Akutami used Nanami as a metaphor to show us, but mainly the younger audience who are still in school and college, that making more money and having an amazing job won't necessarily mean that you will be happy. You could potentially choose a career path where there is little to no money but are happy and fulfilled with a good work-life balance, like how Nanami was when he chose to go back to Jujutsu High and get barely any money, well, compared to his corporate job anyway. Two career paths, one with insane work hours with good money, but you won't have time for family and friends and will end up being miserable, or the career where you will get less pay, but you're actually doing a job you want to do and be fulfilled by it despite being paid significantly less. And with the way Nanami died with a smile looking at his student, I'm pretty sure I know which option Nanami would choose. This is what I feel the character of Nanami was introduced for. On the surface, you would think it's a funny character that got weighed down by the adult life which made him bitter. But it's the contrary. Nanami was shown to give a positive message to its younger viewers that it's their choices that will end up making them live a happy life. But enough from me, what do you guys think of Nanami's character and the philosophy behind it? Let me know in the comments down below, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.